we'll march through some business very promptly. But first of all, a couple of announcements. Welcome to members of the public who have attended. Thank you for coming along. And welcome to anybody who may be following us online. All of our planning committee meetings are captured and shown on YouTube. So they're broadcast live. So anybody who may be following us, welcome. Just a couple of things. Fire alarms, one's not expected, so if it sounds, we will be leaving the building. You needn't worry too much because we will escort you out. However, fire exits are out the doors you came in, and then if you go straight over and then down circular staircase, that is the quickest way out. If for whatever reason that's blocked, there are fire exits behind us. But as I say, don't worry, we're here. Mobile phones, can I ask everybody to make sure their mobile phones are turned off? And residents' feedback forms, there are feedback forms provided on the chair, and I understand you are able to comment online from a pull-down menu. Do please provide us any helpful comments, whether that is a positive or a negative, on how we may improve our committee meeting to make it more accessible to members of the public. That would be most welcome. Very quickly, I'll introduce you to members of the committee and explain who's what and why we're all here. Let me start on my far right-hand side. Councillor Stead. Councillor Chapman. Blimey, I was just chatting to him outside. You get these brain freezes at the time. Councillor Chamdale. Oh, sorry about that. Councillor Chamdale, Councillor Ahmed Willana, and Councillor Ray Graham. And on my far left-hand side, Councillor John Morse, Councillor Peter Money, Councillor Mohammed Kashid. We are assisted by a team of council officers. Glenn Egan on our far right-hand side is our legal advisor. Liz Penny is Democratic Services and minutes the meeting. James Rogers, Head of Planning, gives expert planning advice. Zainab Haji Ismail, I hope I got that close to right in pronunciation, Principal Planning Officer, and presents to the committee each of the planning applications. Mohammed Ranger is our Transport Advisor. He will give us transport advice as an officer of the council. Okay, as I say, they are the announcements. We get into the agenda proper, if I may. Apologies for absence.
Councillor Yarrow sends his apologies, and we have Councillor Graham in substituting.
Thank you very much. Noted. Okay, declarations of interest in matters coming before the meeting. Councillor Money.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have a pecuniary interest for agenda item 7, and I will be leaving the room.
Thank you for that. And I have a non-pecuniary interest in a Part 2 agenda item. And for that, I will need to hand over the chairing of the meeting to a vice chair, as my vice chair is not with us this evening. And so, as we move to that in Part 2, I will very quickly ask for nominations for somebody to act as chair for that one item. Okay, so I'll leave that until we move into Part 2. Any other declarations? Okay, sign and receive minutes of a previous meeting. Thank you very much. That's the 23rd of November. No matters have been notified in advance or urgent. And item 5, this is about Part 1 and Part 2 of the meeting. Okay, for anybody online and for members of the public in the room, Part 1 of the meeting are the planning applications that are considered in a public setting. All the discussion is available to you. However, there are no speaking rights. The only people that can address the committee are those that have submitted a petition or the applicant in response to those petitions. And no petitions have been submitted this evening, so there are no speaking rights at all. As we move into Part 2, we will need to break the meeting. Part 2 are matters that are considered in private, and they relate to matters of enforcement, where it is not in the public interest for that to be discussed in an open forum. Okay, so as I say, there are items in Part 1 and Part 2. We will move into Part 1. Agenda item 6, please. Number 6, Harlington Road.
Thank you, Chair. Item 6 relates to 86 Harlington Road. The proposal is for the change of use from an existing dwelling house to a 4-bed house in multiple occupation, HMO, which is use class C4. The application property is a two-storey semi-detached house located on the western side of Harlington Road, as can be seen on the plan. The property is one half of a pair of semi-detached properties. There are no registered HMOs within 100-metre distance of the application property. Officers consider this proposal will not constitute an over-concentration of HMOs. It also complies with the 20% policy, and the proposals are only relate to the internal floor areas. Outdoor spaces comply with council's guidance. There's no external changes proposed, therefore the proposal would not have any impact on the wider street scene or amenities of adjacent properties. So looking at these plans, this set out the existing and proposed floor plans. There are just some internal changes to make sure the doors are fireproof. No external changes as can be seen here. And just taking you through, this is the property in question. There's a access road here. The proposal provides 3 car parking spaces on site. This is considered sufficient. And the recommendation is for approval. I'm happy to take any questions. Thank you, Chair. I would also like to draw your attention to addendum for item 6. We are removing condition 7, which duplicates another landscaping condition 3, and there is an additional condition which secures car parking and making sure that the car parking is for the property. There's also some clarification that this was a call-in, and therefore, officer's recommendation is for approval.
Thank you.
So if I can just clarify the condition change, so we're actually deleting condition 7 because members will see that condition 3 already covers the landscaping details, so it just appeared in twice. So it's actually a correction to the addendum.
Okay, okay colleagues, Councillor Ape-Bolana.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. How many persons will be residing in the HMO? What is the expectation?
The expectation is that 4 people will be residing here.
Okay. Just to clarify, condition 4, because the proposal was open-ended, showing 4 bedrooms, we've actually controlled the number of persons to a maximum of 4 through condition number 4 on page 6.
Councillor Money?
Mr. Chairman, just for clarity really, so this application is in, this house is located within the Article 4 directive, so the only reason it's being given is because there's no other house of multiple application within 100 metres, is that correct? Along with the other ones as well?
So when the council adopted the Article 4, it produced some guidance which Zainab sort of briefly referred to, that there's within a kind of wider neighbourhood area no more than 20% of properties. So there are some areas, there's a few locations that are known in the sort of Brunel area where there's some very high sort of concentrations, and then also that there's a second criteria which relates to 15% of properties outside conservation areas or 5% in conservation areas where the 100 metres comes in. But this particular HMO seems to be in a location where there aren't any other HMOs in the immediate area.
Councillor Moss?
Just one more question. If there had been an HMO within 100 metres, would that have been reason for refusal?
The test is making sure that there's less than 20% or there's up to 20% HMOs, and if this is converted to a HMO, we can confirm that there would not be an over 20%, so there could be another HMO within that 100 metres, but it's about making sure it's not over 20%, so we can confirm that this meets that criteria.
Okay, so to clarify it, there are 2 policy issues that we need to satisfy. One is around the density of 100 metres, and the other is a density in a wider area, and the officers are saying that this satisfies both of those policy requirements. Okay. Councillor Chamdow, you indicated.
Thank you, Chairman. 2 points. First one is a comment by Councillor Mills on our addendum sheet. Could we have some clarity on that? He says there's been overspill of people. And second one was the actual parking arrangement. Could you just show us a picture again, just describe it where the car is going to park?
I can bring up the plan for you, which will show you. So this sets out where the cars are going to be parked. We can clarify that this access road does belong, and the HMO property would have rights to access. There's one car parking space here, and there's 2 car parking spaces situated here, and that's considered to be sufficient.
And the second point, obviously the first point was regards Councillor Mills' comment on our addendum sheet, overspill of people.
It's this, with 4 people residing in this property, which is to become a 4-person HMO, it's unlikely that this particular proposal would result in an overspill of people.
For me, I believe that is the reason for which we are conditioning the 4, so that we don't have an over-intensification of people in a residential area. But that condition has been brought in. It's a non-standard condition. The parking appears to be adequate, recognising we only require 2 parking spaces when there are 4 people, so we can discount the one at the rear if there were concerns about access. It is just concerning ourselves with the front 2 and that appear okay. Councillor Graham.
Yes, Chairman. The report seems to indicate that we're being asked to condition the fact that there is not covered cycle parking, and can I be guided? Should we then
this is secured.
Condition that here?
Yes. Condition 3, secure cycle parking.
Condition 3? Oh, it's there, is it?
Yes.
Yeah. I looked for it, I couldn't see it.
2B in condition 3 requires 3 bicycle. So condition 3, 2B, 3 bicycle. So here on that page that you're looking at, if you flick over.
Page 6.
Page 6.
Page 6, second paragraph down, 2B.
Okay, right, thank you.
Okay, somebody help me take this forward, please. It seems to be straightforward. The questions have been answered. It's policy compliant. Councillor Bashir. Thank you very much. Seconded, Councillor Ahmed Walana. Show of hands, please, on this one. Unanimous. Thank you very much. Application is approved. Agenda item 7, 29 Manor Lane, Harlington. We'll just break for 1 second to allow Councillor Money to leave.
Thank you, Chair. Item 7 relates to 29 Manor Lane. So this application site is occupied by a single-storey detached bungalow type dwelling. The original part of the dwelling house has a square footprint, but the property has been extended in the past. The proposal seeks planning permission for a single-storey extension involving the demolition of an existing flat-roofed garage to the front of the property and amendments to the existing porch. The single-side extension would replace an existing garage. It's situated, if I can just show you on the plan. So this is the existing plan, and you see that there is an existing single-storey element here, and this garage projects out in front of the property. And this is the proposal. So the proposed single-storey garage would be flush with the front of the property. So in that respect, there's an improvement here, and there's some amendments to the porch to tidy this area up. And this is the existing elevation. Again, you can see the projection here. And this is the proposed elevation. So it tidies up, so now it's flush. And although there is an increase in terms of the height, it's strictly not in accordance with the guidance, but in this particular context it's considered appropriate and actually works better with the aesthetics of the house. So the officer's recommendation is an approval And here is another picture of the... So this would be replaced with something that would be flush, and the hip to gable, the gable roof would line up with, so it'll be subservient to the house there. And these are more pictures, and this is a view from the rear. So officer's recommendation is for approval, and I'm happy to take any questions.
Thank you. Colleagues, questions at all? Clarification? It seems to be... Councillor Kashid, certainly.
Chair, can I just ask a question on the drawings itself on page 109? I know it's not part and parcel of this application, but I'm at a loss that number 27A shown on the outside the site, where the entrance to number 27 is, or 27A.
Sorry, if that is just an issue that has no bearing on this application,
No, it hasn't.
could we take that outside of the meeting then, please, Councillor Kashid?
Okay.
Thank you very much. Councillor Chandel?
Thank you, Chair. I think with the changes, I think the street scene would look a bit better, and I move we go with the officer's recommendation.
Thank you very much. Councillor Morse?
Mr. Chairman, I will second that.
Thank you very much. Show of hands, please, on this application. Thank you. Thank you. Agenda item 8, 26 Cold Harbour Lane. Thank you.
Okay, introducing agenda item 8. This relates to 26 Cold Harbour Lane. The proposal is for the change of use from ground floor from a shop, which is defined as use class 1, to an estate agent, which is defined as use class 2. This is a retrospective application. The change has also already taken place. This is being reported because there is a loss of an A1. Officers consider that the vitality of the town centre would remain. This is its location there. It's not going to cause harm to the town centre location, and it retains an active frontage, and as such, the officer's recommendation is for an approval. I'm happy to take any questions.
Thank you. Colleagues, questions? Councillor Chandel?
Thank you, Chairman. I don't think this has changed much at all. I think we go with the officer's recommendation.
Grateful. Somebody saying... Thank you very much. Councillor Chapman, a show of hands on that one, please. That is unanimously agreed. Thank you. Agenda item 9, 66 Fairway Avenue.
Thank you, Chair. Item agenda 9 relates to 66 Fairway Avenue. This application was deferred from the committee on the 23rd of November to enable clarification on neighbouring impacts of the proposal. So the application relates to involves the increase in height of the roof and the installation of side dormers to create additional habitable accommodation. The proposal relates to a single-storey, a bungalow-type dwelling situated on a plot that backs onto the railway line, as we can see here. The principal elevation faces south. Existing property is single-storey. There is a very large single-storey flat roof rear extension. This is situated in the West Drayton City area of local spatial character, and there are varying architectural styles, but with this application, officers consider that this will be over-dominant and is out of keeping with the character of the wider area. Officers' recommendation is to refuse, and I'll just take you through so this is the existing building. You can see it's single-storey, and there is the flat roof rear extension, which is rather large. The proposal would raise its height and there is also a side dormer which is considered to be incongruous, and this is a side elevation showing the extent of the extension, so it's out of keeping with the original dwelling, and for that reason it's considered unacceptable. Okay.
Thank you. Colleagues, this has come back to us. It was with us last time. One of the refusal reasons has been removed, and the consideration now is really just the impact of the design on the street scene. And that is a view to be taken. We've clearly had it said by the officers in their expert opinion that the dormer is disproportionate and the resultant design is incongruous with the street scene. And that is the issue for your consideration. Colleagues, any questions or considerations? Somebody's going to need to put their head above the parapet in some way. Councillor Stead.
Thank you, Chairman. If, as the agenda says, they've got rid of one of the or two of the other objections to it, and there's only that street scene one, I don't think that's strong enough for us to reject it again. So I would go with the officer's recommendations. Sorry to
You're looking to overturn the officer's recommendation?
No, sorry, Chairman. I was going to go with the officer's recommendation.
To refuse?
Yeah.
Thank you. Councillor Ahmed Walana.
Second, Chairman.
Thank you. A show of hands, please. And that is unanimous again. Thank you. We're now moving into part 2, so I need to invite you to leave. I'm very sorry. I hope you have found it interesting and useful, but we are into the bits now of legal enforcement, and therefore need to do that in a private context. However, if you are at all interested in our part 2, the agenda items that we discuss are published and are the decisions. Okay? So we'll just take a very short break whilst we turn off the CCTV link.